Hello again. Welcome back to the goal setting session. Both Anthony Robbins as well as Brian Tracy were right, saying the same thing, only a different way. Anthony Robbins talked about RPM. What's your reason? What's your driving purpose? And what massive action are you willing to take to accomplish it? Brian Tracy, write it down, create a deadline, create a list of what needs to be done. He gets to action. He's missed the massive, but the action is there. If you do one thing a day and you fail at it, you failed 100%. If you do two things a day and you fail at one, you've only failed 50%. You've improved your closing ratio. And take regular steps every day. Small steps. It's called the slight edge. If you eat an apple today, are you going to be healthier tomorrow? No. If you eat an apple every day for 30 years, will you be healthier than if you didn't eat any apples? Yes. If you smoke a cigarette today, are you going to become ill and die? No. You'll cough a lot probably, but you won't die. You'll just feel like it. If you smoke a cigarette a day, every day, for 30 years, will that impact your health? Absolutely. The same or a different way than eating an apple. Different way. Different goals, different objectives. A simple action taken every day, compounded over time, is what we're talking about. If you eat an apple every day, goal would be to feel better, healthier, and so on. And I can't imagine of setting a goal to have a cigarette a day and then seeing how you've accomplished that goal in 30 years. It's not a good place to be. Alrighty, with that, we're going to move on to Zig Ziglar. He is the master, the granddaddy, the trainer of trainers. He's going to talk about goals, same concept, little different suggestion. He puts it in a very earthy fashion. Alrighty, with that, we're going to ask Mr. Ziglar to step up and start. Here we go. Enjoy.
As you set your goals, a light goes on in your future. Hey, I see something there. With a game plan for life, you become more confident and focused on what it is that you really want. Those who have a goals program and a plan of action to get there earn an average of $7,401 a month. Those without a goals program earn an average of $3,397 a month. Now that's quite a difference. But that's just part of the story. The next part is even more exciting. These people are happier, they're healthier, and they get along better with the folks at home. In the last 2 minutes of the game, and in the last 2 minutes of the half, they score over 20% of all the points that are scored throughout the entire game. That's over 3 times as fast as they score in any other 4 minutes of the game. Now, why is that? Hey, they practice that 2-minute offense, don't they? They plan to score. They prepare to score. And because they plan and prepare, they have a legitimate reason to expect to score. The same is true with us, whatever our objectives are. We got to plan, we got to prepare, and we got to expect. How do you reach your goals? Well, you got to know how to train fleas. Now, just as a matter of curiosity, is there anybody here who does not know how to train fleas? Can I see your hands, please? Man, you got here just in time. I'm telling you. You train fleas by putting them in a jar. You put the top on the jar and you watch them and they'll start jumping. They'll jump up and up and up and up and up and up. And you think they're never going to stop. But finally, you'll notice that though they continue to jump, they are no longer hitting the top. Then you can literally take the top off and they'll keep jumping and jumping and jumping, but they cannot jump out. And the reason they cannot jump out is they have been conditioned just so high, to jump just so high. And once they've been conditioned to jump so high, then that's all there is. There is no more. People are exactly the same way. They start out in life to write the book, to climb the mountain, to break the record, to do something extraordinarily significant in their life. But along the way, they bump their heads, they stub their toes, and they become what we call a sniop. Now that's spelled S-N-I-O-P. That's a person who is susceptible to the negative influence of other people. What's a flea trainer? A flea trainer is one who jumps out of the jar. With commitment, what you do is when you hit the obstacle, not if, when you hit the problems, when you hit the obstacle, if you've got the commitment, your immediate thought is, how can I solve the problem? This is true whether it's getting an education, maintaining the marriage, getting a nice promotion, whatever it is. If you've made the commitment and there are problems arise, then you start figuring, how do I reach, or how do I solve the problem and reach my goal? Now, if you haven't made the commitment, your first thought is, how do I get out of this deal? But you gave me permission to fail. See, it's only the failures in life who succeed. Do you sink every shot if you're playing basketball? Do you sink every putt? Do you score a touchdown on every run? Do you make every sale on every call? But isn't it true that the failures are the one, those who fail the most succeed the most? Roger Staubach, one of the great quarterbacks in history. John Elway, one of the great quarterbacks in history. And yet they threw more incomplete passes than 99% of the players who ever played a game of football. That's what I'm talking about. See, unfortunately, a lot of people stand in front of the stove of life and they say, now, stove, you give me some heat, then I'll put some wood in you. That ain't the way it works. You got to put something in before you can get anything out. So many times, the employee goes to the employer and says, give me a raise, and I'll start coming to work on time. Reward me now, and I'll produce later. It doesn't work that way. Can't you just see a youngster in school saying, teacher, if I take a failing grade home, my parents are going to skin me alive. Pass me on this quarter, and next time I'll study more than anybody else. Reward me now, I'll produce later. It doesn't work that way. Can't you just see an old farmer standing out in the fields in October and saying, Lord, I know I didn't plant a thing this year, but if you give me a big crop this year, I'll plant more than anybody next year. It ain't that way, folks. You got to put something in before you can expect to get anything out. I love the story of the Chinese bamboo tree. They plant the seed, they water it, and they fertilize it. And first year, nothing happens. The second year, they water it and they fertilize it, and nothing happened. The third year, they water it and they fertilize it, and nothing happened. The fourth year, they water it and they fertilize it, and nothing happens. The fifth year, they water it and they fertilize it, and sometimes during the course of the fifth year, in a period of 6 weeks, the Chinese bamboo tree grows roughly 90 feet. But did it grow 90 feet in 6 weeks, or was it 5 years? It was 5 years, because had there been any year when they did not water it and fertilize it, there would have been no Chinese bamboo tree. All of that to say, folks, that a lot of times you do not want to be discouraged. It's always too soon to quit.
If you quit, you're quitting too soon. You're quitting in the 4th year and 11th month of the Chinese bamboo tree. Don't quit. I'd like you to look at the screen. Without goals and plans to reach them, you're like a ship that has set sail with no destination. I don't think you'd go to your car in the morning with all your papers, files, sit there and say, well, what am I going to do today? Let's see. The motor's running, the car's on, full tank of gas. What do I do? Not the way to work it. You need to have a plan, what you're going to do for the day, a goal where you would like to accomplish for the day, and beyond that, for the week, for the month, for the year, for your business. To take the goal setting program one step further, to go to SMART goals. Tony Robbins, Brian Tracy, Zig Ziglar, myself have all talked about goals. Well, make an analogy, if we were talking about cars, a car's a car, until you go into, well, how many manufacturers and how many models? What are the options? It becomes a little more complicated. Goals are not that complicated, but they do need more explanation. To set a goal, you can use one of the theories or one of the tools. It's called SMART. It's an acronym for, as you see on the screen, specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time-bound. To give a little more explanation into this, what I'd like to do is just go over it with you. SMART goal setting. The method of SMART goals, and that's an acronym again for the 5 steps of specific, measurable, obtainable, relevant, time-based, is one of the most effective tools used by high achievers to reach their business goals consistently. And again, it's write it down: specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time-bound. Once your business goals are SMART, written them down in that fashion, and if you go to the internet, you can find forms, mind maps, all kinds of tools to assist you here. It's not that hard or difficult. Again, the hardest and most difficult part is A, getting started, like getting your license before you can become a process server, and then taking regular, consistent action. How hard did you study? Did you pay? Did you to get your license? Did you go down? You follow through? You showed up for the test? Your goal was to get licensed. Your steps were to study, get ready, pay the money, get a good night's rest, go to the test, do well, get licensed. Congratulations. To accomplish business success, you'll need to develop the habit of negotiating more effectively when you sell, which makes sense when you're out. Let me explain it in another way, perhaps. Specific. Great goals are well-defined and focused. The moment you focus on a goal, your goal becomes a magnet, pulling you towards it and your resources towards it. The more you focus your energies, the more power you will generate. Measurable. A goal without a measurable outcome is like a sports competition without a scoreboard or sports keeper. Numbers are an essential part of the business. Put concrete numbers on your goal if you're on track. A goal whiteboard posted can be a help as a daily reminder to keep yourself focused on the targets of what you want to obtain. Then A, obtainable. Far too often, small businesses can set goals far beyond their reach, especially if you're an individual or just doing everything by yourself. Easy to do. No one has ever built $1 million business overnight. Relevant. Achievable business goals are based on current conditions and the reality of the business climate. And you may have a desire to have your best year in business or increase your revenues over last year, but if there's a recession coming or 3 new competitors opened up or the courts change their rules, then your goals are not relevant to the realities of the market. Those folks that live back east this past winter with the snow, you can't accomplish your goals if your car is snowed in and the streets are blocked, as an example. Time-based. Business goals and objectives don't just get done when there's no time frame tied to the goal-setting process. Whether your business goal is to increase revenues by 10, 15, 20%, or find 5 new clients, choose a time frame to accomplish your goal. So at this point, if you haven't, I hope you sit down, take a pen, a paper, go to the internet, do some research. Don't take my word for it. Please do your own due diligence. Find a form or a sheet or a paper, quiet location. Write out your goals. Put time frames next to them. What is your why? What is your motivator, and what massive action will you take? As a famous man once said, if it's meant to be, it's up to me. Good luck. We'll see you in the next video.